In today's chart of the day, not one but two US stocks, both fighting it out against each other in the same sector for domination, and that is Uber and LYFT. And I'm going to take a look at the technical analysis to see who's coming out on top and where they are going via the charts. Hello, I'm Stephen Ho, trader and founder of The Stock Hunter. So before we can carry on, a risk warning for you to pay close attention to. The content in this video is not investment advice, so please seek the advice, help of financial professionals or financial advisors before investing and trading. And trading and investing involves a high degree of risk and your money is at risk, so be very careful. So with that out the way, let's get on with the analysis. Now, I shouldn't have been surprised really by the first chart, and in the chart of the week we normally head to the weekly line chart, and I was surprised really how correlated the two actually are. You can see on the screen here now we've got LYFT in the light blue and Uber in the yellow, and we've gone back, you know, till mid 2019, early 2019, and they pretty much track each other, you know, move for move, blow for blow. So the first question is, why would you want to put your money in both of them? Because they're both doing the same, so you're just duplicating up the risk. You go bigger in one, you know, and just stick with the one you fancy the most. But the chart, the obvious takeaway from the chart is the correlation between the two. Yes, they're doing the same thing and in the same sector, but sometimes you get a deviation in the price, and maybe it's a pairs trade there. I don't know, there's some other strategy between the two, but you know, if you're just in outright price mode, then actually you've got to pick one or the other by the looks of it. Now back to our standard line chart with one of them removed, and first of all we're going to look at LYFT on the weeklies. And what can we say? Well, we're going to look for numbers wise, highs just under $67 back in sort of March of this year, and had a nice run up from October time 2020 up until that March-April time in 2021 before pulling back, and we can see some key Fibonacci numbers there. We've got around about 49 to the downside, and then followed by just under 44, and then we go all the way down to 38 and back to those lows where there was sort of a double treble bottom around the 20 zone. So currently the price, you know, been ranging a bit for the last few months, consolidating maybe and trying to push upwards. Got to get through that 57 zone before testing the highs once more. So flicking over to Uber, what can we see from the chart? Well, there was a nice treble top happening around the March-April time around that 60 zone, so there was some serious resistance there. Didn't want it to go above that, and you could call it a sort of a loose head and shoulders pattern maybe forming, and if that is the case, then you could see prices get down to that 38.2% Fibonacci line around $36, and then below that a lot of noise between that $36 and $30 point. Lows around the $21, $22. That was way back in March of 2020, but again, similar to LYFT, it had that run up through 2020 into March time of this year, and then there was consolidation in the price and a slight, you know, reversal pull off back down to, like I say, that 61.8% zone around the $45. So that's the line chart numbers done. Let's have a look at the Heikin-Ashi chart. So jumping into the daily Heikin-Ashi chart for LYFT, what can we take from it? Any conclusions at the moment? In the near short term, prices have been trying to edge back up, and they're going into that two lines box area just above 55 and say between, you know, 57 sort of prices. And in terms of signals at the moment, It's looking pretty neutral, warming up maybe to be a bit more bullish, but we're also seeing volatility dropping down, which is the singular red line there, to the mid-30s, and volume actually is under its moving average, which is that green line there. So nothing too exciting happening at the moment. If we go back in time, we can see in late 2020 rise in the price and the trend all the way through up until April 21. You can also see how volume and volatility both spiked in that start of that run up, and volatility was up to about 150-160% then. But generally at the moment it's sort of playing between the highs of 68 to 44 in that light blue box zone in terms of price, and the support is looking strong at 44, so a breakdown from there could be quite serious and back to the more recent lows of 2020, but at the moment staying within that range. Hopping over to Uber now on the same chart setup, it's looking a little bit more bearish actually. Again, we've got that same run up in price, same time period, but actually the price has been more consolidated, more banging around within that range and really testing that lows at the moment, 43 sort of area, and a break there could see it go further. Now if we look at the signals in the short run, we've got a more bearish setup. Volatility has fallen down a bit, but volume, the negative red bars there, poking up through the moving average, so a bit more of the bears in control here on Uber rather than LYFT. And the trend over the last few months has been down in price, not looking quite as competitive to the upside as LYFT, and maybe more of a short-term bearish situation going on. In terms of the Renko chart for LYFT, I've got a block size of 0.8. That gives me enough to play around with. Currently signals at the bottom looking more bullish, and in terms of price action just popping outside the offset Donchian bands there, but coming up towards the 61.8% Fibonacci line, so we might see a bit of resistance, head banging on the price, but if it can get through there, it's up to that 61 area and then 78.6 Fibonacci line, and then off into the highs, like we said, 65, 67, 68, and if it can get above that, we're looking at around about 72 area for its first stop. So generally not too bad, maybe you'd call it a weak bullish situation for LYFT currently. Same as the Heikin Ashi chart really for Uber, it's a bit more of a gloomy situation. Both the indicators pointing negative at the moment, and I put on the Fibonacci lines on top of the Renko. We've got a slightly smaller brick size at 0.6, but as you can see, price is really testing a key sort of breakthrough area around that $43 mark. If it breaks through there, it's down to 38 and then 35. If it can recover and consolidate, bounce from here, then it's got to get up to 51, 52, breakthrough there before it can even think about getting up towards numbers around the $59. And if for some reason it can and breaks through those $63, $64 highs, then it's on to 69 and $72. But at the moment, it's definitely the weaker of the two. So in terms of summary for LYFT, well, I would give it, and I'm pushing this, a weak bullish signal at the moment. It's more feel of a neutral weak bullish, but I'm going to err on the weak bullish side. Heikin actually pretty neutral. Renko slightly a bit more bullish in the shorter term, and if we focus in on the target areas, not bad for the upside in terms of risk return. If you're taking a more aggressive approach, 2 to 1, 3.5 to 1 on the upside, and on the downside a bit less, so maybe you consider a more bullish point of view because of that. 1.8 to 1, 2.8 to 1 again if you're being aggressive there, but generally I'm giving LYFT a weak bullish signal. In summary then for Uber, it's pretty much the opposite of LYFT. We've got a more weak bearish situation going on, and that's why I've just edged from that neutral to weak bearish recommendation there, but generally Heikin Ashi neutral, weak bearish. Renko in the shorter term a bit more bearish, and focusing on the targets for the bullish trade against the bearish trade, much better risk return to the downside at the moment. So overall for Uber, I'm giving them a weak bearish signal. So LYFT versus Uber, it looks to me personally that LYFT slightly has the upper hand at the moment over Uber. Maybe there's a pairs strategy trade in there for you. Let me know what you think of the analysis and whether you trade either of these, Uber or LYFT. Do you have any favourites out the two? Let me know in the comments below. If you've liked today's technical analysis and you want to find out more, I'll put a description also in the information below with some links to follow so you can learn more there. If you liked today's video, please give us the thumbs up and don't forget to hit the subscribe and bell buttons to receive future notification of any future content I'm going to produce. And all that's left for me to say now is thanks for watching, good luck with the trading, and I'll see you in the next video.